And what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It is your boy Cheap Ludes, and I'm back with another video. This is not a drill, man. The market is exploding in NBA 2K21, my team, and I don't mean crashing. This is not a market crash. I've seen a lot of people talk about how this is a market crash. No, incorrect. This is the complete opposite. This is a market influx. I don't know, man. You know what I'm saying. The market is on the rise. Anyways, if you guys are not aware, in addition to getting Spotlight Sims for the All-Star Weekend, which are honestly some of the best content 2K's dropped all year, and you know it boils my blood to even talk about it in a positive light. We got some new hero challenges as well, like I've been saying is going to happen all year. All the hero guys got their own separate challenges. Thankfully, they're not worth too much XP, so you don't have to feel bad about not having the hero cards. And we got a couple Amethyst reward market challenges as well. The Patrick Beverly one sucks. 6 steals, that's rough. But just run them during Spotlight Sims, eventually you'll get it. But yeah, if you have any of these cards, obviously you want to go and do these challenges. But this is the big one. Spotlight Sims are back, and they don't go away. I got 3 games done already for Sidney Weeks. He's a power forward with a 7'11 wingspan, and you know I love wingspans. John Wall, 98 overall, god tier point guard, the best point guard in the game. It's not even remotely close in my opinion. Probably Luka still might be a little bit better, but he's the second best point guard, and he is free. It's not free in time, but he's free. So I'm going to be going through every single team and talking about the cards that you can either sell for a lot of MT or pick up for relatively cheap that'll help you, because this is, just like last year, like I've been predicting all year long, that it is going to be on a team-by-team basis. Meaning that you are going to have to use cards from specific teams. So, lock in all these guys from 65 to 96 to get Wes Unseld, who looks to be a god in his own right. Lock in every card from 97 to the 2010s to get Brandon Roy, who looks to be, I refuse to say better T-Mac, but same as T-Mac is what I will say. T-Mac's price is going to plummet because of this, by the way, which is awesome. I'm kind of mad about it because I paid $450K for T-Mac, but it is what it is. His price is going to plummet because Brandon Roy looks to be, air quotes, better. I'm a little cracked out right now. I drank like 3 cups of coffee. I'm tweaking. But anyways, you do have to use cards. So on the 4th challenge, you have to use 6. So it starts 3, 4, 5, 6, and I'm guessing the last one is 10, just like last year, which is going to be a nightmare. Now you can utilize those 3 spots at the end of your bench, that don't ever play, as positions that can factor into what team you have to use cards for. Now every team is going to be included, like I've been saying all along. So I'm going to go through every team individually. First, I'm going to start with all the cards I do have, and then I'm going to start with all the cards I don't. And I'm going to tell you which cards, if you have, to sell now and pick up later. Just because some of these cards are going to reach astronomical amounts. Like, I picked up a bunch of cards this morning, like Darius Miles, Larry Johnson. I got both those guys for 9K this morning. I should have picked up Greg Oden, but I don't really need him. But I should have still, because all these cards have doubled in price. Rafe LaFrance is going to go up. There's no Rafes left. Because we don't know how many times you're going to need to use the cards from the sets. People aren't going to be able to pick up a card, bang it out real quick, and then sell it. I picked up Diamond Giannis today for about 8K. Brooke Lopez I picked up for about 7K because the Nets are not good on big men. Like I said, I'm going to go in individually into every single team in my collection and tell you guys that you can pick up for cheap. That'll work really well. Tactical downgrades that you can make. Guys that you should just straight up invest in and or sell. And we'll go from there. There's a lot. So like I said, I'm going to try to do it team by team, and I'm going to do it through my auctions. But the promo packs coming out yesterday was huge, but we're going to start with the 76ers. So right off the bat, everyone has the free Iverson for the most part, which is awesome. A lot of people have Bobby Jones. Michael Carter-Williams is probably one of the best cards you can buy. Now, is it an investment where his price could go up? We could see it, but Tony Roten exists as well, and they both do relatively similar things. But picking up Michael Carter-Williams for 2,000 MT, look, if you're playing on Hall of Fame difficulty, it's almost impossible to shoot jumpers as is. So you want to focus and grab guys that are incredible rim runners and have good size. Michael Carter-Williams is one of those guys. Same with Tony Wroten, but this is, for my money, one of the best cards you can pick up right here. Dikembe Mutombo. Look, I've played through some of the Spotlight Sims. There's some absolutely OP, fake, historic Galaxy Opals in there on the harder difficulties, like Kareems and stuff that are just so annoying. And somebody like Dikembe Mutombo, who's moves really well, is excellent defensively, and can score in the post occasionally, is going to be huge, especially for 2,000. Tony Wroten's great as well. I was going to say gross for some reason. Tony Wroten's cool. Shout out to you, Tony Wroten. He's nuts, especially for the offline challenges. He's great because he moves well, he's got good size, and he can attack the rim. So, Bucks. I have Bogut, thankfully. Giannis. Diamond Giannis is going to be one of your best friends for the Bucks challenge. I would recommend picking him up as soon as humanly possible because his price is only going to rise, in my opinion. So if you find him for like 10K, I'm not saying you're going to make a bunch of MT, but it's just going to be more expensive if you pick him up later. Glenn Robinson, another really good option. He was in the promo packs yesterday, so he's going to be relatively cheap. I think it's worth it to pick him up for 12K, especially if you have to use 6 Bucks players. You want to use the best possible ones. Moncrief and Oscar Robertson are on the rise. They're going for about 10K right now. I'd grab them before they go any higher. Ursan's okay. Larry Sanders is my guy right here. Like, he's going to be expensive. There's not a lot of Bucks centers that are really that good for Hall of Fame difficulty. Larry Sanders is. A lot of people are going to lock in for Chris Middleton too, so take advantage of that. Sell those Emerald Bucks players for a lot when you can. As far as the Bulls go, I know that the next challenge I'm doing involves 6 Bulls players. Dennis Rodman is not going to stay this cheap all day. I promise. I promise he's not. As a Bulls fan, you know that we do not have a rich history of big men and at least front court help. So guys like Dennis Rodman and Eddie Curry are going to be huge just because we just don't have that many. Eddie Curry, I think, is already on the rise. Yeah, he came out in the promo packs yesterday and was like 1,000 MT. Now he's up to 6K already. I'm probably going to sell Eddie Curry because I have a lot of Bulls big men from grinding purposes like Joakim and Charles Oakley, so I'll probably end up selling him. Reggie Theus is going to be your best friend for these challenges as well because he's big, he plays defense, he's fast, he can post up opposing point guards, especially if you run into a little point guard, and he's just going to be great for those challenges where you have to use 10 Bulls players. And obviously, if you don't have MJ, if you have MJ, you're fine. But if you don't, even if you do, Reggie Theus is just fine. As far as lower tier guys, Scottie Pippen, we've already seen him go on the rise as well. I mean, we were seeing him go for 10K yesterday. Now he's all the way up to 20. Cards are doubling in price. Dwayne Wade is still a really good option as well if you need a nice slashing guard. You can pick him up for right around 10K. I think his price goes up a bit too. You're not going to make a crazy amount of MT, but Ronnie Brewer, we're seeing Ronnie Brewer get snatched up like crazy. And I mean, it probably has a lot to do with DBG putting him in C tier of his shooting guard list. I love Ronnie Brewer. He's not that good. Jay Williams, we're seeing his price explode. Yup, I'm going to sell Jay Williams as well. Lauri Markkanen's price is up a bit. He's still kind of cheap though. But, Cavaliers. A lot of Cavaliers players have been free grindable guys, and a lot of them have been guards. So Cavaliers guards are not crazy expensive right now. Bob Sura's up a little bit. I'll never tell you to sell Bob Sura because he's a GOAT. Honestly, even if you have to grab Bob Sura for 17K, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised with that price because Bob Sura is still, in my opinion, one of the better point guards in the game. Brad Daugherty is another guy I want to talk about because there's not very many Cavs big men. And for 4K, he's actually really good. 7 foot tall. He's really good in the post. He dunks pretty hard. He passes the ball really, really well. He's not the best defender, but he rebounds relatively well. 82 speed is super solid. He will get stripped a lot, but it is what it is. Solid badge count. For 4,000, he's definitely a tactical upgrade. If you have Ilgauskas not locked in, you could ship him off for the 30K he's going for and get Brad Daugherty, who will do basically the same thing. Andrew Bogut from Double Take's not bad. Obviously, okay, here comes this one guy who commented on 16 of my videos yesterday, just harassing me about my Kevin Porter Jr. stance, but still, he's a great card for Spotlight Sims. Celtics have a rich history. There's a lot of cards in my team, so I'm just going to highlight some guys. None of them have really exploded in price, but as far as cheaper options, like Jared Sullinger is really, really good. You can get him for like 3-4K. He's wonderful. Glenn Davis, same thing. Like, they'll work really well for the higher tiered challenges because they're a little bit fast. They can handle the ball a little bit. They play good defense. Those guys will help you out tremendously if you have to use like that massive amount of Celtics players. Obviously, guys like Kyrie, Larry Bird, I think is pretty expensive. So if you have him not locked in, he's not really going to help you too much on Hall of Fame difficulty. So 23,000 is that's a good time to sell him. Brian Scalabrine, I wonder if he's being price fixed. Yeah, obviously Scals. Most people have Scal. And if you don't, you can still pick him up for 2,700. So I recommend doing that. Bailey Howell's a little bit expensive. Some of these older cards are going to be pretty expensive, so good time to get rid of those guys if they're not locked in. Honestly, Dino still works really well. Like, you can find badged up, or at least semi-badged up Dinos for like 1,000, 2,000. And on Hall of Fame difficulty, he's fine. He's fast. He can get around people. He's got those long arms. He grabs boards. If you need to fill in that spot for that Hoff difficulty one, he's not bad. So the Clippers team is going to be a nightmare because there's just not that many Clippers teams. If you don't have like Blake, Kawhi, and P-Bev, you're going to have some problems. DeAndre Jordan is stupid expensive. $25,000 for this card just because outside of Blake Griffin, there's really no Clippers big men. He is the only one, realistically. As far as centers, like, there's not really many. It's bad. Eric Gordon's another good option. He's going up in price too. He was going for like 2K the other day. Now he's going for like 6, 5, well, down to like 4, but still. I recommend using tokens and grabbing Danny Manning because you just really don't have much of a choice when it comes to Clippers players. Malik Sealy obviously is going to be helpful. Hopefully you do have that card. And Darius Miles, who I picked up for 7K this morning and is now going for 25. Chris Paul still relatively cheap. It's just a very prevalent card in the game, but his price is kind of going up. So I recommend going and grabbing him for like 4K before he goes up to like 6 or 7. If you got the tokens, grab World Be Free too if you need them. It's going to be helpful. We're even seeing cards like Paul George go up. Like even just regular base Paul George is going up just because this team has no rich history, and if you don't have some of the cards like the Corey Maggette and stuff, like you're going to have a problem. Also check the lock-in for Elton Brand. A lot of people are going to try to lock that in. So the Grizzlies have a lot of free cards this year, so if you have like John Morant, Sharif, all those guys, it's going to be good. I recommend going to pick up Rudy Gay as soon as possible because there's just no Grizzlies wings, and 13,000 is not even bad. He's only going to get more expensive, in my opinion. Hopefully you have Shane Battier, Valanciunas, and all those guys, and Jaren Jackson Jr. Felipe Lopez is still cheap. Tony Allen, I want to say, he's like 5Gs, so if you're not using your Tony Allen, I would sit on that. Felipe is still ridiculously cheap. Everyone pretty much has this card, but if you don't, you definitely need it for Spotlight Sims. Like, that's not even a question. Let's check out, Zach Randolph. If you don't have some of the free guys, Zach Randolph is going to be expensive. Honestly, I should probably pick that up for 2,400, just put it back up for like 5Gs. I guarantee it gets sold. Allen Iverson is even relatively expensive right now, so if you see any AIs for like 800, go pick them up. So the Hawks, they have a lot of free cards as well, or like lock-ins and stuff. Stacey Augmon is actually a really nice option. If you're lacking Hawks players, you can pick him up for like 3K. He doesn't really shoot at all, but on Hall of Fame difficulty, it's fine. Christian Laettner has some challenges, so that's a double pickup right there. Kyle Korver is up in price. He was going for not very much yesterday. Now he's up to about 8 Gs. Even Jeff Teague's up. Jeff Teague's like 1,800. That's crazy. He was going for like 800. Trae Young's expensive. He doesn't really help too much on Hall of Fame difficulty, in my opinion. But if you're a Trae Young fan, Wildmont, then go for it. Whatever. Doc Rivers is who I would use, rather. The Heat are solid. Chris Bosh, they don't have a lot of big men as well, so Chris Bosh is also not a terrible person to pick up. I mean, there is Bam, there is Udonis Haslem, and there is a guy I'll talk about in a second. Bron's not going to raise too much because we got the free LeBron that a lot of people are going to use, and he is a Heat LeBron, so. But this Bron is a little better. Glenn Rice is a solid option. If you need like a small forward, you can pick him up for cheap. Hero is way up because he's Tyler Hero, and you know he does to 18-year-old white men what NSYNC did to everyone in 1999. Hassan Whiteside, this is the best possible card you could pick up for the Heat challenges. Like, I'm not even kidding. He's so ridiculous. You can pick him up for 1,200. This dude can lock down like an Opal Kareem. He's great defensively. He has some of the best blocking animations in the game. He's fast. He can move. He can hit the post. I love that card. I know you guys probably get tired of me hearing me talk about that card, but I love Hassan Whiteside. Hornets. Now this is the squad right here. I have made a bunch of MT off these Gerald Wallaces. I bought like 5 this morning for like 3K a piece, and I haven't even sold the one in my collection yet. I will. He's going for absurd amounts of MT. I guarantee if you hold out, he'll go for more. Alonzo Mourning's price is even up. It's funny that people are buying this, like Gerald Wallace when Alonzo Mourning and Glenn Rice are this cheap, but I'm guessing that means that there is like a used 6 or 10 whatever Hornets players at some point. But obviously Gerald Wallace is up. Every Hornets card is up. Larry Johnson this morning was 9K. Now he's 25. The only Hornets player that's not up is Eddie Jones. Go buy Eddie Jones now before his price goes up. Del Curry is up. Like, Del Curry's going for way more than he was before. Fantastic. I'm not selling any of those guys. LaMelo's way up. I bought LaMelo for 5K this morning. Now he's up at 10. Even Vlade Divac is up. Vlade's going for 10K. The Charlotte Hornets just have such a weak roster of players that all these guys are expensive. Even some of the currents. Jazz have a very rich history in 2K. We have a lot of Jazz players, but if you are struggling to fill out the lineup, Brian Russell is your guy. Plays good defense, dunks the ball, can shoot. Donovan Mitchell just came out in the packs yesterday. You can still get him for relatively cheap. He's incredibly fast, works well. Darren Williams is still a good card, though it's not necessary. You can just kind of run Donovan Mitchell. AK is still relatively cheap. I'll talk about Thurl Bailey later. Like I said, I'm going to talk about the cards I don't have that you should buy later. Even this Andre Karolinko will work well, and he's cheap. Kings. Kings are another squad I talked about on Twitter. Look at that. Doug Christie's going for 60 to 100K. Wild. De'Aaron Fox is going for 30K, 25, 30K. That's crazy. There's just not that many. There's not even a Chris Webber on the market. If you have a non-locked-in Chris Webber that you haven't sold or a non-locked-in Peja, dude, you're golden. Even Mitch Richmond's price has started to peak. Simbular is more expensive. There's some other King guys I'll talk about. Yeah, this is a good time. Knicks, once again, just like the Celtics and Lakers and a bunch of other teams, they have a pretty rich history. If you're looking for cheap guys like Al Harrington, Richie Guerin, Mitchell Robinson would be a good option. He's actually, everything I said about Hassan Whiteside works well for Mitchell Robinson as well. Really cheap card. Plays well in the post, blocks shots, pretty fast. Just a good option. Lakers, like I said, same thing. This Magic is okay, but you might as well just grab Bonga. At that point, Bonga is still going for relatively cheap. And, I mean, Smush, D'Angelo Russell, a lot of good guards. Lakers big men is a little problematic, so Pau Gasol is going for a little bit more. Kareem is. Michael Cooper is cheap. He works pretty well as well. The Magic. There's actually some good budget guys. Like Scott Skiles is basically Chris Paul. So if you like Chris Paul, you'll like Scott Skiles. And he is a great option as well. Kemp just came back in packs yesterday. Same with Ewing. Steve Francis is still out here for cheap. Aaron Afalo, Bamba, Ryan Anderson. There's actually a pretty good wealth of talent for that Magic now, at least in lower overall cards. Mavericks are another team where there's not many cards, period. This Dirk alone is going for 10K. Just crazy because they just don't have that many big men. We're seeing a big uptick in Jason Kidd's price because there's just not a lot of point guards. Even Luka's up to like 3-4K. Hopefully you don't have to use him. Sean Bradley, super expensive now. That's crazy. That is absurd. Tyson Chandler, very expensive. There's not many non-locked in cards. Even Dennis Smith Jr. is 7K. The Nets. There's more Nets big man options than there were before. They don't have a whole lot of guards, but Jason Kidd's price has gone up a bit. Not very much. Richard Jefferson's still relatively cheap. He'll do the job if you need him to. Drazen, same thing. Like, he's pretty good. This Drazen's a little bit better. He's a little more expensive because he has an XP challenge. So it's tough to say if you should sell like the Hero Drazen now or wait for the reward to come out. Kind of depends. Nuggets big men. That's the key here. Nuggets have a lot of guards and especially a lot of free guards. So Dikembe is going to be expensive. Yeah, he's like 30 to 60K, which is kind of crazy. I didn't really think he'd be that much. Alfonso Ellis is still pretty expensive as well, and there's only one of them. Little Sander Cohen, Mustache Mahmoud Abdul is fine. MPJ is seeing a little bit of a price increase, but he's still only about 2 or 3K because there's just so many of them. Rafe LaFrance we'll start to see go up quite a bit. Bol is pretty expensive, if I'm not mistaken. Pacers big men, again. The high-tier Pacer cards like Danny Granger and Paul George have seen an uptick in price. Even Rick Smits is relatively expensive now. Basically, if you didn't get Domantas Sabonis and Roy Hibbert, there's not very many Pacers big men that you can find besides like Herb Williams. The one I've been prepping for. Do not sit here and see this 19 and 24,000 from Julius Randle. He will go up, I promise you. Anthony Davis, who you could pick up for like 8K the other day, is now going for around 20 or 30K, which is nuts. Hopefully you guys listen to me and pick those guys up. David West, I've also talked about. He's back up over 10K. He's going for about 15 now, whereas you could pick him up for like 9 the other day. BI is relatively expensive, but he hasn't changed very much. There's one Nickeil Alexander-Walker because they have like no guards in their history. Even Buddy Hield is going to be cheap. If you have Buddy Hield and he's not locked in, you might be able to come up on that one. Pistons. All right. Pistons have a pretty rich history this year. We've gotten a lot of Pistons content, especially in the free department, so hopefully you have some of those. Blake Griffin's pretty good. Andre Drummond, those are cheap options you could use. Sekou is going to be more expensive. I don't know why. Bill Laimbeer is pretty expensive, if I'm not mistaken. He's relatively cheap. You can get away with using him. Killian Hayes, Drummond, Darko, sick. Raptors. The Raptors have a pretty solid amount of players as well, and it's very well rounded too. There's a lot of different positions for both grinding, free locker code cards, and cheap budget options. So you should be able to fill out a Raptors team relatively cheap. Rockets are going to be a pain in the ass. There's just not that many cards. There's only 3 Clyde Drexlers out there. I'd pick him up ASAP. Chandler Parsons is up. Ralph Sampson's going to be a key. Everyone's going to need to pick that up because there's just no Rockets big men besides Yao. At least out right now. Spurs are the Spurs. There's just a million Spurs cards. Suns big men. I mean, hopefully you got that free Amari by this point, and Paul Silas, who we're seeing an uptick in. Not very many big men here. As far as like power forwards go, we did get that free Aaron Baines, so I recommend going to grab that as humanly possible. Thunder's cheap. Let's see, Timberwolves. Yeah, Karl Anthony Towns. I picked him up for 4K this morning. He's already seen an uptick. There's not that many Wolves big men, especially if you didn't get that free Kevin Love. So Gugliotta and Karl Anthony Towns are guys you should definitely target. Not a lot of guard play from them as well. We're seeing an uptick in like Andrew Wiggins and Corey Brewer as well. Those guys are going for around 8 to 10K now. The Blazers, outside of LaMarcus Aldridge and Mo Lucas, don't have a crazy amount of big men, but there's a lot of free guys. Joff Petrie and Rudy Fernandez are obviously the guys you want to target for the most part. Joff is still going for like 7K for some reason. I'm not really sure what that's all about. Just people haven't really got to the Trailblazers challenges, I'm guessing, because he'll be expensive once they do. Warriors are solid. If you need like some guard help, like Sleepy Floyd or Monte would be who I would go for, because they're going to be on the cheaper end compared to like the rest of the guys. If you don't have some of the free rewards, Monte is still definitely usable in Hall of Fame setting. Klay Thompson's still a little bit too expensive, and he's not going to help you very much. If you really need a sharpshooter, Dunleavy might just work a little better for 3K. Steven Jackson's still good. Not going to be many of him up there. Honestly, there's a pretty big lack of big men. That was a terrible wordplay. Festus Ezeli is going for like 8 times what he was going for the other day. He's still relatively good. You can get away running him. It's not going to be easy, but you can get away with it. Wizards. Once again, big men power forwards. You're not going to have a lot of success with the Wizards in that department at all. They're very, very guard heavy. So I'm going to talk about a few of them here. So let's go to tip-off West. Hakeem, Sean Marion, Karl Malone, Mike Bibby. If you got Mike Bibby and you're not using him, he's going for 16 to 25K. There's just not that many guards for the Kings. Gus Williams, JJ Barea. Ooh, JJ Barea might be useful. There's not a single Peja up here, so if you don't have that Peja locked in, you can probably get 10, 15K for him because there's just no Pelicans players. Kareem is going up in price just because there's no Lakers big men that are on the budget side. So let's look at some of these guys. Alonzo Mourning, by the way, the diamond one is back up to about the same as the pink diamond one. So if you're buying Alonzo Mourning, just buy the pink diamond one. They're like the same price. If you need a Pistons big man, Drummond's really good for the same reasons I talked about Whiteside. Giannis is Giannis, whatever. Let's see. I mean, Thurl Bailey. If you need a Jazz big man, he's still going for relatively cheap. I'm probably just going to pick one of them up real fast, just in case his price goes up. And he used for the challenges, just because Thurl's still really good. Let's pick this one up for 9K, that's fine. Let's see what else we got. If you need Raptors guys, I mean, DeMar's still out here for relatively cheap. Oh yeah, Manute Bull. I forgot about Manute Bull. Yeah, a lot of people are going to go to pick up Manute Bull because there's just not that many Wizards big guys. So I'm going to pick him up for 3,700. Hopefully I can make some money back. If you have Manute, just wait a bit. Once people get to those Wizards challenges and realize like how bad it is out here in the streets for Wizards players, they're going to go scrambling for Manute Bull if they don't have JaVale. Rudy Gobert and Tim Duncan are on teams with pretty rich 2K history, same with Stockton, so their price isn't going to be affected too much. Pete Maravich just went up a little bit because Atlanta doesn't have a lot of guards, especially like ones that you don't have to grind for. Like I said, Larry Johnson and Coleman went up a lot. Let's see. Greg Oden's up a lot. He was at like 6K this morning. Now he's at like 22. So Yao Ming's way up. I mean, he might have always been this price. I just haven't paid attention to this Yao Ming in a while. But he's relatively expensive now also. And we're going to see random guys like this go up in price all day, which is like half the reason I wanted to make this video. Let's see. This Kevin Love, yeah, definitely gone up in price. He's up around 10-15. This Wilt is around 20. Ray Allen's Ray Allen. He's going to be expensive. I think he's over 100K now. Or no, I don't think so. I doubt it. This Chris Paul is more expensive than the retro one for some reason, so I don't know what that's all about. David Robinson is expensive now. You might as well just go get Tim Duncan for that price, though, if you're just doing it for Spotlight Sims. Udonis Haslem, another pretty good cheap Heat option. I'm more partial to Hassan Whiteside, but Luka was only going for about 15K this morning, or about around 20 to 25, I should say. Now he's up about 10,000 MT just because the Mavericks are so desolate, like absolutely desolate at the guard position. Yeah, Michael Redd's up. The Bucks kind of don't have a lot of good shooters, so Michael Redd would obviously be the guy. Millsap's up, but for what Millsap's going for, just go get like AK-47. Jokic is up, obviously, because the Nuggets have no big men whatsoever. Isaiah Thomas is way up. I'm going to buy this one. 7,000? Yeah. Yeah, we're going to buy that one, just in case. You never know. Probably make some MT on that. Walt Frazier. There's not a lot of Hawks big guys, so, yep, Bob Pettit is way up. Bob Pettit, in all seriousness, should be going for like 25K, but here he is going for damn near 100. Walter Davis is up, too. I mean, Phoenix doesn't have a whole lot of wings, so I understand that. Dirk is obviously going to be up. Still not crazy expensive. I mean, you don't know how long you're going to have to hold on to him, though, so You'd want to research the challenges on 2KDB to really know. Jason Williams. Okay, so why are people paying $15,000 for Isaiah Thomas when Jason Williams exists? I guess they do need 2 guards, huh? Bam, staying pretty relaxed. Juwan Howard, yeah, 16K. It's not bad. Honestly, I should have picked him up, but it's fine. Jerry Lucas on the Kings, he's going up in price. James Harden, is he Rockets? Yeah, he's going up in price as well. Should probably go snap him up in a second. John Starks, Gerald Wallace, like I've said, going for a lot. Yeah, Davis Bertans, pretty big price discrepancy. I'm gonna have to scoop that just on the off chance that works out. LaMelo is going for an absurd amount. Bol is going for stupid money, just because it's tough to even field a full team with that whack roster of big men. This Hakeem is actually a really good option if you need a Raptors guy that's not going to break your bank. I refuse to hype Karl Malone. I'm aware he's on my team right now, and it hurts my soul. Penny Hardaway. I mean, yeah, obviously those guys. Steph's only gone up in price. Bonga is probably one of your better options for Lakers guys. He's really good on Hall of Fame because of his size, speed, and rim attacking ability. So same with Glenn Robinson. They're really good guys for that difficulty, just because of how you have to play. So let's look at some of these guys that I don't have. TJ Warren, if you need a Pacers wing for 10K, solid. Joe Caldwell, if you need a guard, solid. Yeah, you can't shoot, but you're not going to be shooting a lot of jumpers in the Hall of Fame anyway. Oh yeah, I have Tom Chambers. That hurts. Bob McAdoo. If you have Bob McAdoo, you're about to come up so hard. I'm almost considering buying this, but I'm not going to do it. Gilbert Arenas, out in Houston, yeah. The moments, guys, some of them are expensive. Just depends on what team they're on. Tobias has gone up. Obviously, there's only one Alexander Walker up. The rest of these guys, Clint Capella is up a little bit. Terry Rozier. His prices remain the same, but I feel like it's only going to raise. How much, I'm not entirely sure, but we could see. Yao Ming's price has gone up, by the way, by about 20K. Same with Kmart. So, if you want to tactically downgrade on some of these guys, makes sense. Like, if you tactically downgrade from Kmart to Yee, you're profiting 50 or 60K. Because Yee's not going for much. Or if you downgrade to, like, Derek Coleman just to get the challenges done. Ayton, not a lot of Phoenix big men, so he's going to be going up in price. And then we got our Quantum guys, and we talked about most of these guys. Fuck Karl Malone. But anyways, I hope this helped you guys. I tried to make at least a comprehensive guide of all the teams and what cards are worth what. So I hope this helped you in any way, shape, or form. As always, it's been your boy Chief Ludes. Good luck with Spotlight Sims. I'll be grinding all day. Comment down below what videos you want to see. I'm going to try to find some exploits or something for you guys. Just make your life easier. So, as always, check the description for my stuff. And peace.